August 11th, and it is 9 a.m. Welcome to the Putnam County Board of County Commissioners regular meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. Invocation will be led by Pastor Steve Burkowski, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Palatka. Please stand if you're able to do so. Please also silence your phones.
Good morning, Putnam County.
Good morning.
Let us pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the privilege of living and serving in Putnam County. We ask for your wisdom and guidance upon our county commissioners and all who serve our community. May the decisions made today be marked by integrity, compassion, and a sincere commitment to the good of all our citizens. As a new school year begins, we pray for our students, teachers, administrators, staff, bus drivers, and families. Grant them safety, patience, encouragement, and every resource needed for a successful year. May our schools be places where every child is valued, supported, and given the opportunity to grow. Bless this meeting and all who have gathered here. May our words and actions strengthen our community and honor you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me as I salute this great nation I love. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have the approval of the minutes. There's one change on here that I noticed under appointments. It was Commissioner Alexander who reappointed or who appointed Renee Huff to the Fair Authority.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the minutes with the amendment that you just spoke about.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Presentation, Ms. Lori Parker from Human Resources. That'll be followed by the Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please come up. We recently awarded 3 employees for Employee of the Month, and out of those 3, the Employee of the Quarter is being awarded to Miguel Flores.
Yay!
I am actually going to let David speak this time. So, David, come on up. We all know how wonderful Miguel is.
We do.
She called me this last night and said, Dave, I want you to say something. So,
Hello, Mr. Green.
how y'all doing this morning?
Very well, sir.
March 1st, 2025, I met Miguel. I got hired that day. He said, Miguel, take David out there and teach him. Because all the ACOs had to spend 2 months in the kennels. Miguel said, come on down. See, no, I'm just kidding. He was a nice guy. He taught me everything. That's when I found out he had a real dedication. He really had a good rapport with everybody. Everybody loved Miguel. The dogs loved Miguel. He really loved his job. He brings a very empowering sense. I can trust Miguel. I said, Miguel, I need this done today. I got it done. It's done. Call Miguel in the middle of the night. Miguel, I need this. And he's very dedicated to Putnam County Animal Services. And I just enjoy being around him. And he deserves this award.
Very good. Thank you. Sure. Y'all want to come up and get a picture real quick?
Ms. McNeil, is that the summer program help there, or is that, are we starting them really young, or?
That is our dog tester to make sure that official for kids, to make sure that dogs are kid
Gotcha,
friendly.
she's a tester.
Yes, she starts school the 17th.
Oh, okay. There we go.
telling
I was wondering. I was looking at her the same. That's why I was like,
She starts school the 17th.
okay, the 17th. All right. Y'all come on up.
We're just funning you, honey.
That's why I was looking at you, and I was like, what are you doing here? Oh, okay.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. And again. One more.
She's faithful for that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's always so great to see you.
I'd shake your hand, but I have a little cold. So congratulations.
All right, next we have up the Chamber of Commerce for their quarterly reports. Good morning, y'all.
Yeah,
We are in the South.
it's true.
Good morning, Commissioners, Administration, and County staff. Thank you for the opportunity for us to provide the Q2 Economic Development Report. This is the second quarter of 2026, and the things that we'll be talking about today reflect the activities from April 1 through June 30. Overall, this quarter demonstrated continued momentum in business recruitment, project development, workforce partnerships, and regional engagement. Our efforts remain focused on attracting new investment, supporting existing businesses, and positioning Putnam County for long-term economic growth. As we look at our second quarter of activities, Putnam County continues to maintain a strong economic development pipeline, driven primarily by manufacturing opportunities. We currently have 5 active projects under consideration, representing a combined potential of 260 new jobs and $530 million in capital investment. These projects reflect growing confidence in Putnam County's location, available sites, workforce, and the business climate. In addition to our active projects, we generated 13 new leads during this quarter with a significant level of foreign investment. Much of the activity came from targeted sectors, including manufacturing, technology, aerospace, energy, and advanced industries. Of those opportunities, 4 competitive projects advanced to the RFI stage. Together, these prospects represent an additional 325 potential new jobs and approximately $353 million in capital investment, demonstrating the scale of our opportunities that are currently evaluating Putnam County as a location. While project recruitment remains a priority, our work continues to focus equally on strengthening the foundations that support long-term growth here. That includes workforce development initiatives, site readiness effort, infrastructure coordination, and direct support for existing employees through our business retention and expansion programs. These investments ensure that Putnam County remains competitive for both new business attraction and existing business growth. Overall, the second quarter reflects continued momentum and positions us well for future investment, job creation, and economic growth throughout the county. I'm pleased to report that we currently have 5 active projects in our development pipeline, representing both the manufacturing and the hospitality sectors. Collectively, these projects represent 260 potential jobs and approximately $530 million in capital investment. The projects include project pavers with 30 jobs and $13 million in capital investment. The property has been secured, infrastructure upgrades are being planned, and preliminary engineering has been completed, as well as an EDA grant request has been made. On Project Poly, with 80 jobs and $39 million in investment, the prospect has closed on the purchase of a property in the business park, and they're working on the site plan. Project Overdrive, with its 100 jobs and approximately $300 million in investment, is in the planning and engineering stages for the property that was secured north of the business park. Project Buckeye focuses on job retention with a $177 million investment, and we've been working diligently with the company to be able to secure this important retention project. Project Popeye, supporting retention and future growth of an existing business with 50 potential new jobs and approximately $1.3 million in investment. It's also in the planning and engineering stages. During the quarter, we received 13 new leads, many involving significant foreign direct investment interest. We saw strong activity from companies in the marine, chemical, medtech, aerospace, and automotive and energy sectors. We submitted responses for 4 competitive requests for information through the Florida Department of Commerce, JAX USA Partnership, and FPL. Those 4 opportunities alone represent approximately 325 jobs and $353 million in potential capital investment. Our goal remains to ensure that Putnam County is consistently represented in competitive site selection projects and positioned for future wins. Business retention and expansion remains one of the most effective economic development strategies we have. During this quarter, we completed 11 business retention visits, bringing the year total to 19. Identified and resolved 19 issues, identified 1 new expansion opportunity, and facilitated 16 connections with partners and resources. These visits allow us to address challenges early, identify opportunities for growth, and reinforce relationships with existing employers. This quarter, we achieved several important milestones that continue to strengthen Putnam County's long-term economic development position. One of our most significant accomplishments was the successful submission of Putnam County's Opportunity Zones 2.0 nominations. This effort involved extensive coordination with local governments, community stakeholders, and regional partners to ensure that our submissions were strategic and data-based and aligned with future redevelopment goals of this county. We also worked closely with Putnam County to prepare and submit a Community Planning Technical Assistance Grant, or CPTA. If awarded, these resources will help support planning efforts, site readiness initiatives, and future economic development opportunities throughout the county. A major focus this quarter was external business recruitment and relationship development. Staff represented Putnam County at the Select USA Investment Summit, the nation's premier foreign direct investment event. This event was hosted by the U.S. Department of Commerce and provided valuable opportunities to promote Putnam County's available sites and workforce assets, engage site selectors and corporate decision makers, build relationships with domestic and international investors, gather intelligence on market trends and site selection requirements, and identify new prospects for future recruitment efforts. We were also proud to host the NFEDP Partnership Board meeting here in Putnam County, showcasing our community while strengthening relationships with regional economic development leaders and partners. Throughout the quarter, collaboration remained a major priority. We continued working closely with JAX USA, Florida Commerce, FPL, CareerSource, and other strategic partners to advance business attraction, workforce development, infrastructure planning, and economic growth initiatives. Finally, we convened industry workforce roundtables with healthcare, manufacturing, and construction employers to better understand their workforce challenges, identify their training needs, and strengthen alignment between industry, education, and workforce partners. In closing, the second quarter reflected continuous progress in business recruitment, workforce development, site readiness, and regional collaboration. While many projects remain confidential and competitive, the level of prospect activity, investment interest, and partner engagement demonstrates that Putnam County continues to gain visibility as a location for business growth and investment. I'd like to highlight the Putnam County Economic Development Dashboard. The dashboard serves as a tool to track our progress and measure performance across key economic indicators, including business recruitment, project activity, capital investment, workforce initiatives, and business retention efforts. It provides a transparent, data-driven monitor of outcomes to ensure that we remain focused on our strategic goals. On this slide, you'll find a QR code that links directly to the dashboard, where the public can access the most current metrics and performance data. The dashboard currently includes updated results for both the first and second quarters of 2026, and will be continued to be updated as new information becomes available. So we encourage everyone to use the dashboard as a resource to stay informed about Putnam County's economic development activities and progress. And I thank you for your continued support, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions? I got a question on the foreign investment. Is when you mentioned that, it sort of took me off a little bit because off guard, because I was like, is that normal? So is that normal across the country and the state that foreign investors are coming in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And then what about our unemployment rate? How are we comparing with other counties?
Well, our unemployment rate went down this month.
Okay.
So that's a month-by-month tracking, so that we update quarterly on our dashboard. We're not too far off. We're fairly even But it went down a full point this month.
No, we'll take anything we can get, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So with all the job creation and what we're talking about, I just wanted to see how that was. I know a lot of these jobs haven't come to fruition yet, but it's certainly going to make a difference when it does.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your presentation and everything that you're doing in the chamber. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
All right, next up we have Kimberly Morgan.
Good morning, Commissioners and
morning.
staff. Excited to be here and give you an update on the Tourist Development Council and the things that we've been up to with the tourism industry. First of all, I want to say Putnam County knows how to do July 4th. There were we put together a press release announcing all of the events happening the week prior and just a couple of days after July 4th. And that press release was 3 pages long. So everyone, that just kind of shows the sentiment and kind of the patriotic spirit that is just naturally here. So kudos to our community for celebrating well. So we will plan to take advantage of that and make that a bigger push in the future, as long as we know everything that's happening and help celebrate America's birthday every year. We want to thank you for the approval to move forward with the contract with Madden Media. They are our contracted advertising agency and website development company, and we are moving forward on those projects. During the last quarter, they came for an immersion trip. It's hard to market something if you haven't been here, and most of their team was unfamiliar with us. So they came and were pleasantly surprised and overjoyed with the story that they get to tell, for us in the efforts with the advertising and just some fun little things that we've got planned. They've put together our media plan. We're working on the website now. So those projects are moving forward, and just to give you some information, we do plan to launch the new tourism website in January, so that you have a timeline and an expectation for that. The strategic brand preview we did in April. We did a sneak peek to what we're going to launch in January with a new name and a new brand. So that was just a soft reveal for that. And then new curated itineraries. We have the Dock and Dine that is on the Visit Putnam app, as well as a downtown Palatka tour that highlights all of the businesses that you can enjoy, dining, shopping, and just different experiences, the spa, the gun range, everything that's downtown that will probably surprise people. So wanted to give you an update on where we stand from the fiscal year standpoint for vacation rental. I know this is one of those hard numbers to track, but this is where we are. We're at 36% occupancy in vacation rentals. The rate is down a little bit. Basically, what this tells us is that we're flat for the year, which is actually a good place to be. Some of our neighbors and throughout the state are experiencing significant losses as far as occupancy and rate go. We are down in bed tax collections by about 13%, but for the most part, we're flat with occupancy. It's the rate that I think that has changed that number. So,
And just for clarity, is this including hotels, or is it
it's
just?
not included. It's
That's
just
what I thought.
vacation rentals.
Yeah, thank you.
And now keep in mind that some hotels and some campgrounds utilize vacation rental platforms to book their business. So there is a sprinkling of some in there, but for the most part, this is the easiest way for us to get a snapshot of vacation rentals and campgrounds,
Okay.
which is the majority of our inventory. visitation and visitor spend. Florida markets continue to be strong from a volume perspective, but also from a spend perspective. They do vary. We will focus more on the Tampa market, Orlando, and Jacksonville and Tallahassee for our marketing efforts. But this tells you why. We want to make sure that the people that are spending more money are the ones that we're targeting more. And there are some variances there. From a marketing project standpoint, we have actually now more than 40 blogs on in our inventory or library of blogs and content. We do have 6 custom high definition promotional video storytelling videos that will launch with the new website. We ran an Expedia campaign to boost room nights, and Expedia matched our funds. So our investment was $10,000, and Expedia matched that. So it turned into a $20,000 campaign. Smithsonian featured us. We purchased an ad for Undiscovered Florida, and that has already, it ran in April. It's already resulted in 1,000 first-party data content for us. So what that means is people signed up to get more information about Putnam County, and then in January we will launch a consumer newsletter to make sure that we engage them and invite them to our destination so they can learn more about what there is to see and do here. From a brand strategy perspective, we will be presenting the strategic plan, which is the roadmap for tourism going forward. So you'll be seeing that probably in September. That's when it's slated. It'll be presented to the TDC. Target audience and pillars. This is kind of where we're headed with the ad agency. We will focus on messaging about outdoors, history, and our culinary features and dining. So core demographics, 35 to 65 years old, focusing on those Florida markets, and just data targeting, making sure that those interests are aligned with the product that we have. So now, are y'all ready? We're going to show you our 30-second commercial, which launches this week. And so let me...
You need to stop fighting the current and just go with the flow. Away from the stress of cluttered inboxes, busy commutes, and endless screens. Get a taste of the nature, beauty, and adventure of Old Florida in Putnam County. Be it having fun in the water, getting your adrenaline going, or enjoying a meal. There's no rush, just enjoying life at your pace, just how it should be. Start planning your getaway at visitputnamcountyfl.com.
So that's our 30-second spot that will be running in a variety of different platforms for the next 3 months. And then we'll do the brand shift and reuse that same video just with a different logo at the end. From a community and regional engagement perspective, we had a TDC meeting in May. We had tourism team-up events throughout the county. We do those in different regions of the county, as well as different sectors of the tourism industry. We meet with accommodations as well as outdoor adventure outfitters. And then we attended the book launch for the Images of America Palatka, which is a great asset for us to tell Putnam County's story. And then we did the TDC event grant workshop. We also participated in the Visit Florida's Marketing Committee, which is a statewide committee for which we serve. And then Destinations Florida Marketing Summit we attended just to keep up to date with new marketing trends that continue to evolve and change quicker than we can blink. And then just wanted to let you know that the Tourist Development Council is meeting on August 20th. That's where we will go through the grants, award some grants, and do our normal course of business for the TDC. And that's our quarterly report.
All right, are there any comments or questions? All right, thank you, great
Thank
job.
you.
Love the video. All right. Consent agenda items. We have 2 consent agenda items. So public comment on agenda items. So if you're looking at your agenda, it would be the items under 5. So we're going to take any public comment on those 2 agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk who sits to the right of the podium, and those are the blue speaker cards. So again, these are on the consent agenda items, so will be another public comment section further down where you can comment on anything you would like. But on consent agendas, do we have anything on consent agendas? Or new business? I apologize, new business. We might have new business. Got out of order a little bit. And any new businesses, also items 5 and 6 if you look on the agenda. Okay. All right, so first we'll go consent agenda items. Any commissioner wishing to pull anything from the consent agenda? Commissioner Palatka?
I have none.
Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
Commissioner Newbold?
Nothing to pull.
I have nothing either.
Madam Chair, I move approval of consent agenda items A and B.
Second.
All right, I do have one question on item A. Mr. Newbold just stepped away. Is there a cost to the county on that? Mr. Grimes?
No, ma'am. We would traditionally offer this service for any of our municipalities that are paying into the MSTU already, which WELACA is.
Okay, all right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, before we get into new business, I have 2 speaker cards. Kevin Sapp?
It's about new business.
Mm-hmm, yeah, we're good. I'm gonna have him speak on that. Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Kevin, good morning.
Hey, y'all. I'm just here I live on Cemetery Road in the Forest. I live at the back end, very back end. And there's a hill right there by my driveway. And it used to be bad a little bit, but now the garbage trucks has really got it bad. So I get woke up all in the night and during the day to pull people out. It's gotten really bad. And something needs to be done with it. And that's the only part of the road I care about. It's right there at me, and everybody comes up wanting to get pulled out, and it's getting kind of old. So if we can fix that hill right there, I'll be good to go.
Okay.
Did we work with the Forestry Service about putting a being out there to keep them off the roads like Marion County?
I think all that discussion's going to come up. I just took public comment before we get into we're going to discuss all that, I believe. Yeah, I think it's under Commissioner Pellicier's jurisdiction, so we'll see what he has to say.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much all I've got.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you.
Bruce Gibson? Hey, Mr. Gibson, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
I forgot to ask Kevin to give his address, but if you'll just give your name and address for the record.
Bruce Gibson, 127 Oak Hill Circle.
Yes, sir.
We oppose the Public Works coming out to basically, spend our tax money to only help out one person. We maintain our own roads. We have equipment, we have resources, and we feel that our taxpayers' money should go towards, something a little bit more than having to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to pull people out. We all know what happens down in the forest at, all night, stuff like that. We've maintained our road to where we do not have that problem. Our services, which is really the only thing that we get is a garbage service out there that our taxpayers' money go towards. they have not a problem. So we oppose it. We have a petition,
Yes, sir.
and we would like to submit it and basically put our money where it really needs to go.
Yes, sir. All right. If you want to, did you give that petition or copy of it to Miss Ashley?
I can.
Okay, and she can make a copy if you want to. Make sure you keep a copy. We'll get a copy. Do you have a copy already?
No,
All right,
this
well-
is the only copy we have.
All right, Miss Lauren, will you help out with that?
Thank you.
Half a dozen.
Yep. All right, going into, is there any other comment on new business? All right, going into new business, our first item up is Public Works ownership of Cemetery Road. Who is doing that presentation? Mr. Pellissier?
I'll take it from here. I invited the Forestry Service current ranger and supposed who they think the new ranger's going to be, but has not been appointed yet. And also invited Mr. Warren Wilhite from Palatka Abstract to come give us any information that they had about that road. We got a nice letter that it would take Mr. Commando to interpret, which I called on him to do so, of what can be done in the forest. And the way, if I remember correctly, Mr. Commando, when you get there, they do not want individuals doing maintenance on those roads of their own. They do not like that. They said they want to either the county do it or the county hire a contractor that somebody knows what they're doing. They don't want individuals out there freelancing, is what they said. This is from the Forestry Service, not from us. I think it's pretty sad that you don't care anything about your neighbor and you don't want them to have, any kind of grace that you could have. But that's your choice. That's your choice. I rode out there with our Public Works manager and our engineer, and I thought one thing you would like was a mowing of your road going in and out just to keep the brush from skinning your vehicles, which is something that we could offer if y'all wanted that. But if you don't want your road touched around there at all, I mean, that's fine. There ain't nobody putting, I heard, there's going to be lime rock and then pavement. And there's no such thing. I don't know where people get their crazy ideas of jumping to conclusions. But we've got no show from the Palatka Abstract or from the Forestry Service. So I really don't know where we can or can't go from here unless Mr. Commando can interpret that letter that we got from Ms. Sariak. I did? Okay. So, I mean, you do it if you want to, but if they, I don't know how often they patrol or ride around out there or do anything, but they would say something to you, because in that letter it said that they didn't want private individuals doing it themselves. So,
Is there an item an action item, or we're just having a discussion?
just kind of having a discussion. Where Mr. Sapp lives, like I said, it's toward the rear. He has a hill that comes up and goes over, down, and then towards his place. And when I brought Mr. Knowles out there and he looked at it, he thought that if we put some clay on that part of the road and blended it in with the sand would make it passable. And the Forestry Service has a clay pit that they will furnish the clay to do so, but it has to be a licensed, reputable person that does it, either county or contractor or whatever. But they indicated they didn't have a problem with that being done. Is that right, Mr. Commando? Okay. So that's what I want to talk to the board about, seeing if they would give us the clay to do such, and maybe improve that one end of the road where it benefits. There are for other people that live down there that come out that way. I think there's several camps and some residences down that way that come out. So just putting it out there. If we can help the people, let's help them. If we can't, if they don't want it, it's fine by me.
Those are your comments for now?
That's for now.
This isn't anything new. This has been going on, as you can tell by the packet that's in here. That's, I don't know how many pages, from pages 26, 50 pages almost in here. And I remember when I worked at Representative Payne's office, this issue came up as well. And that the Forest Service basically said it was their road, not the county's, to work on, and they're correct. I mean, I don't think there is any county ownership in this road. Is that what your determination is?
It's what we're kind of seeing, that their county can't lay claim to it. The forestry people don't seem to care as if they're going to allow somebody to do work on it that is, a licensed person that does that type of work. But
Well, I remember when we had the audit that came up back in 18 or whatever, and it's stated in here on page 39 that the county attorney at that time stated that the county is statutorily prohibited to expend county dollars on private property, and the Forest Service will issue a fine for making improvements or repairs to forest roads. So without an agreement in place, I don't know how the county, and even with an agreement in place, I would still have some concerns, because we do not spend county dollars on private roads or roads that we don't own anywhere else in the county. So that's where I'm having an issue.
Well, when that work was done before out there, I remember it being controversial, and I took our then county attorney, Rusty Castleberry, out there, because I knew it was, and I wouldn't have touched it, but he said it served the greater good and it could be done, and it was done.
And then after that came an audit, that specifically said by the state of Florida that you could not do it. So that's where I'm falling at. And I do see the current email where it says the Forest Service has, they have a freeze on cooperative road agreements right now across the country. It's not just here. It also says in here that they don't issue permits. It says we do not issue it to individuals on shared roads. However, as road work and damage to the roads rest on a single homeowner and can be undermined by others in the community. And it basically, that the 67 miles of unmaintained commuter roads generating complaints, and only 1 or 2 neighborhoods have been willing to make a HOA, get a permit, manage those roads to a standard. So, I don't know. I have a problem with using county dollars on it. Commissioner Newbold, you recognized.
Given that petition, this may not be an option, but it seems like an MSTU might be an option for this space. You know, if there was a desire from the folks in that community to tax themselves for a maintenance program, that may be an option for them. Just throwing that out there as a suggestion.
I think that was in the letter that Miss Sari, I can never say her name.
Syriac.
Sarek, whatever, close enough, sent us. And bless their heart, those folks out there, their hands are tied. They can't do anything. When you call up and ask them, they'll talk in circles around everything, but they never will give you an answer, because I know they have to go to, I guess, Atlanta or Washington or somewhere to get their approval to do anything. And the man that I talked to, a guy named Mickett, Jonathan Mickett, he thinks he's going to be the new forest ranger. He said, I'm not been knighted yet, or so, whatever they do. But, and I invited him, and he didn't come, so evidently. He said he would have to get permission to even come. So he couldn't even come on a informational type mission. So,
Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This thing has been going on for a long time. I grew up out in the scrub, so Frontier Dance Hall, 18 years old. Daddy was called the Frontiersman, so I know that area very well. My best friend Kevin Thompson lived out there, not far from y'all. His mother owned the Frontier at one time. When I was a kid, that was not a bad place to be. Problem is, we've had, Kevin, I think you were here. Carl Bauer came in this room, sat right over there, stood up and said, I don't care about you people that live out there in those woods. He didn't care a thing about you. He said, those are our roads, they're service roads to get our timber out. Other than that, and what's really sad is my stepmother lives on Lake Delancey. You know, if they don't want y'all in the forest, they should have just bought y'all out, threw you out. But they didn't do that. So they make you live in a place where we can't go out there and do anything. You see the packet says that, you know. I mean, we've tried and tried. You see back when Kelly Smith was there and John Eubanks that they did some emergency repair, but Chairwoman Wilkinson is right. The audit came out and said, you can't do this. And I tell you what, if we do something that we know we can't do, we're going to be in trouble for doing that. So why do we want to do that? I like the idea of the garbage bins. I like the idea of maybe there's a new park ranger that coming on board. I like the idea of maybe an HOA with an MSBU scenario that could maintain it. But those are just a long way off. And that conversation needs to happen. This lady was very clear that I'm retiring. She's moving these files up the chain of command, but they're being sued nationwide of maintaining roads and forests that don't belong to them. We came very, very close when I first got here. Mr. Tim Hotelin will remember, we almost paved the road down to the ferry. We almost really did that. We came close. We didn't even have ownership to do that. We told DOT we did. We didn't. So we've had you remember that. It was Black Bear Highway. It was a disaster. So there's got to be a solution here, and I don't know what that is, but hopefully a new park ranger. You know, I remember when Ted Yoho tried to get a few $1 million to fix down by the ferry landing and back up, and it was difficult. And I remember when Mr. Suggs went to Washington, D.C. about this same topic, and the lady pretty much told you, right? We don't care who tells us what to do. We're the Forestry Service.
Yep.
It didn't matter to them. Am I putting words in your mouth, or is that?
No, sir, that was fairly accurate. Yes, sir.
So it's a shame that they allow people to live out there and then basically say, do the best you can. Have at it. I don't think that's fair, but I don't get to write that rule. But I tell you, maybe a new park ranger, and I appreciate Commissioner Palatka bringing this forward. Maybe a new one will have common sense and be able to decide something that can be done. They can grade these roads. They have the machinery to do it. They just don't want to do it, and they don't care to do it. And if they have a clay pit, they can bring their own clay over. But that's all I got to say, Madam Chair. I'm sorry.
You're perfectly fine. Commissioner Palatka, you're recognized.
One part of that situation out there that makes no sense is when you cross over into Marion County over there, the forest roads are paved, blacktop. So how does that happen? I don't understand that. But I can assure you, if I live, let's see what I write down. From 19 to the cemetery is a half a mile, and to the intersection of Broadway is 7/10 of a mile. And if I lived anywhere around there and rescue came out there to get me, one, they're going to be very delayed because they can't make any speed. And I would not want to be in the back of one of those ambulances feeling like I was in a bouncy house trying to get to 19. You darn near be dead before you get out of there possibly. But if that's what the people want, that's what the people want. So that's all you can do.
Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Is the dumpster placement something that is doable? And it seems to me that if you can keep that big truck traffic off, it will help.
Miss Sakaric, got it right that time. Miss Sakaric said she thought that was a doable thing, but they would have to find the proper location. And she had thrown out like 2 or 3, and I told her, you know, there's your property. We just would love to have a spot, and it's where it's landed. And I guess she's made it very clear she's retiring the end of this month, and who's going to do it, I don't know. I guess Mr. Mickett, if he gets that job, maybe we prevail upon him to locate that spot for they call it a satellite location for trash.
If she has located a few spots, it seems to me we ought to, get our ducks in a row, go ahead and pick the spot we would like and try to push the spot we want as opposed to the spot the Forest Service wants.
It's their land.
That's the bottom line.
I get it, but it sounds like she gave a few alternatives.
She did, but she said she couldn't zero on one till she talked to Washington, D.C.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There is a precedent set out there, and I want to say it was 77J, but I think they changed all those roads back since I was across from the pipeline headed west. They have a garbage dump out there, and the bears go in there and eat and all that, but this isn't unusual for them to have that in the forest, so it's out there. I think that's an easy lift that we can get to, and I really think the new park ranger having a conversation, bringing them in here, maybe a workshop, and say, hey, what can we really do? Help us help these people. That's all we want to do. All right, thank you, Madam Chair.
How would you folks feel about a satellite garbage location versus those garbage trucks coming up and down in there around Broadway? And would you come forward?
Our roads are very well maintained. I myself, been a superintendent for streets and highways, bridges, FDOT work for 25 years with the same company. I do like the fact that, yes, some clay could be hauled in to that portion of Cemetery Road, but it needs to be mixed. It needs to have a proctor established on it. an LBR, and it needs to be tested by quality control, and then we would like to have a verification technician out there to make sure that that part of that road is going to hold up to where the garbage trucks could get in and out. The problem's going to be is keeping the younger generation that goes out there and parties all night long and spins it all up and stuff like that. That's why I would propose clay mix, maybe a minimum with DOT's 18 inches. Put 3 inches of clay on it, mix it 18, compact it, pull a Proctor, get an LBR on it, get it tested, be done with it.
So what did you think about the idea of a satellite dumpster? Would you prefer?
If you could find a close place to it, because really all you have is like, Cemetery Road and the veins that run off of it. Then you've got, what is that, armadillo, what do we call it? Macaroni patch is what we call it. It's just basically straight across from the frontier. If you could find a decent place in Putnam County to put it.
All the satellite locations that I've seen in Marion are real close to the paved road, so that's easy to get on
We
and
have
off
to
with
drive
big
all the
trucks.
way to Salt Springs?
No, I'm just saying other locations, that's
Okay.
where they locate them, is
Sure.
near the pavement.
Well, maybe the county talk to the forestry and see if they would donate, what is it, an acre?
At best.
Or do
And
you
then,
just
the
an
only other thing
easement
you're going to
over-
have is your power. Who's going to pay for the asphalt? Who's going to pay for the fencing to keep the bears out? The fuel for the trucks to get in and get out, dump fees, stuff like that. I mean, it can get up there in price.
Okay.
Mr. Tilton, can you have any input in here that could be useful? He's our sanitation manager for Putnam County, so he deals with Waste Pro all the time. He knows a little bit how they think.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. Good.
So the conversation that we had with Waste Pro was to put a simple area with a fence up and put a couple of like 20-yard dumpsters in there that they would come and pick up, lock it, and actually put the code on the gate so that the citizens get in. I mean, I'm not worried unless Yogi's there. I'm not worried about him reading the code and number off of the sign. So, and they didn't say no. So that conversation was started about setting a place up like that they could come throw their stuff in there, and they would come out there like on whatever day their normal pickup is. They would send a roll-off truck out there and just pick those dumpsters up that are enclosed in there. The only thing we would ask the citizens to do is lock it when they leave.
So 20 or 30-yard dumpsters?
You're gonna need 20s, because if you get 30s, those are 6 foot tall.
Well, I've got plenty of 30s on my job site. I can throw a daggone garbage bag of
Well,
garbage.
we were thinking of all citizens, sizes and abilities,
Okay,
so that's why we were saying 20s,
agree.
so, and it would just be, but that was the conversations that we did have with Waste Pro, and they were amenable at looking at those if we ever got to that point.
Be a start.
Okay? Thank you.
So Mr. Commissioner Pellicer, I don't know where you go from here other than, have you had conversations with with Representative Fine's office?
No, I have not. I have
Okay.
not. I was hoping that Mr. Mickett would come today and could maybe share some insight, because he don't, I guess, officially he may not take his position till January, who knows? But she's leaving, Ms. Sakaric is leaving the end of August. And like every other government agency, I'm sure they're gonna drag their feet before they make that appointment and make him the boss, if he is gonna be the boss, whoever it's gonna be.
I understand.
So maybe we just wait until he gets there and can go to the powers above him, and we'll see if we can find a satellite location.
Well,
That'll-
Mr. Gibson,
That'll help the roads.
there was another point that was brought up, and I want to know your thoughts on this. So they discussed having an MSTU. That's an additional tax to be able to maintain the roads, if they could work it out with the Forest Service. Are you good with that?
Well, the problem with that is that a few years ago, I've been out there like 28 years.
Yes, sir.
A few years ago, the county did come out there and grade. Everybody says, no, they didn't. No, I watched them road and motor graders, 12 Gs down the road, pull in there and grade. Well, they've cut out most of the hard pan. We've got spots in there that the road is actually 4 foot below natural grade, with pine trees and oak trees right on the edge in their root system. That's kind of the reason why we do not wish for Public Works to come out there, because, I mean, let's face it, and I'm not trying to, the operators really are thrown to the wolves, and they kind of do not know basically how to operate a piece of equipment, which would be a grader. We have access to smaller equipment. That's why we maintain our own. I mean, I wish someone would have came to the community first and let us try to pull our resources together to help out the situation for the folks in the back. The gentleman on the end lives back there. You know, we don't have a problem going back there and getting it to where the trucks can run in and
We
out.
certainly can have that meeting. I mean, there's not a problem.
I mean,
that can be done. We're just trying to start somewhere.
Well, that's what, so let us gather our thoughts on it with our community,
Sure.
with everybody that's
Sure.
in this,
Sure.
position here.
Y'all pick a Saturday upcoming sometime when it's good for everybody, and I'll
we'll see
be
what
there.
we can come up with.
I'll
We can come
absolutely
up
be
with
there.
something, fairly reasonable to where maybe the county can supply the material and we can do the work. I have access to whatever we need.
Some of those deep holes that I went through out there, I figured if you just filled them full of clay and make that water disperse off the
It's
top.
going to,
Commissioner,
but
can we
it's
agree
also going to have a
to move on?
saturated
Sure.
bottom because you got to dig out the muck and the root system and that clay's not going to work.
All right, sounds like you guys could get together. It's your
We'll
district,
get together.
so
It's my
we'll
district. We'll get together and
hear back from you.
y'all
Sounds
get
great.
your names on your list, and y'all pick a Saturday that most can be there, and I'll break my neck to be there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Great. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
Very good. You good?
I'm good.
All right, thank you. Going into development of budget development fee schedule.
Thank you, Chair. What you have before you is your proposed 26-27 fee schedule with some minor adjustments, including the supplemental information that went out yesterday. The supplemental information is being proposed to be incorporated in addition to the previously prepared packet. The language is proposed in order to be compliant with House Bill 803, which amended Florida Statute 553.791, parentheses 2, just to kind of make more uniform in the state of Florida how we're all treating private provider plans, reviews, and inspections. So both would be incorporated into the new fee schedule effective October 1st. With that, I will take any questions.
All right, are there any questions from the board?
I have one.
Go ahead, Commissioner Newbold.
And I don't know if it's appropriate here or should be later on in comments. In regards to the cost for a homeowner who's paying a garbage fee to take tires to the dump, is it appropriate to talk about that here or just wait till later?
You can talk about it
Okay.
here. for sure.
I've been trying to float the idea of allowing an individual resident to bring more than 5 tires a year. I think more like 15 tires a year would be appropriate. We've done these tire amnesties, which have been very successful. By the way, the next tire amnesty at remote locations and everywhere else is in October 24th. Anyway, I think residents would enjoy that, encourage them to help the county keep our roadsides cleaned up. Anyway, I don't know if it's an amendment or how to enact that, but I'd like to raise that from 5 tires to 15 tires.
To how many?
15 per year.
Jay, are you,
That's all we're allowed.
are you able to accommodate
5.
15 per household?
It's 5. I want it to be 15.
I'm going to rely on Mr. Tilton to give me some guidance as to whether or not he can allow on that kind of volume and
I've
capacity.
talked to him about it before, and it's always, he has to get special permission from the state, is that right? Or something, I don't know.
No, the tire amnesties are the ones that we actually, in fact, we just applied for those. That's how we got the dates locked in as I believe the 23rd of October. Is that third Saturday in October, and then the other one will be in March this year.
Do you have a recommendation?
I would recommend 10. And that's just my recommendation. Double what we're doing right now, and let's see if that accomplishes what the commission would like to do.
Okay.
I think part of it is I understand we're trying to clean up the streets and everything like that, and I get it. But I would just like to see. I mean, our tire amnesty days have so far been successful. This last one was the biggest one we've ever had. In fact, we had to stage inmates to help load tires out at Interlaken this year because of the amount of tires that came.
It's great.
So my recommendation would be to start. Let's double it to 10, and let's see what that does to us. And if it doesn't affect our capacity too bad, then let's come back next year and we'll address it then.
Sure.
That would be my recommendation.
Thank you. I would amend that to 10.
All right. We'll go on. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to bring something. Mr. Tilton, don't leave just yet. Out of, Mr. Newbold, out of 33,000 assessments that we have in the county, last number I got from you was maybe 2,800 people were actually taking advantage of bringing 5 tires to the landfill. So less than 10% of our assessment people were bringing them in. Remember, we got rid of recycling because we saw that number die big time. That I think it was 78% of our people were not even recycling at that point, but yet they were being charged for it. So you're being charged for 5 tires. It's in your assessment. You're almost better off to go, I don't want to pay lower that assessment a little bit and pay to take the tires out to the landfill. Now, one day I would love to see us buy tires. If we could buy tires that are spread out throughout this county and say, we know these are coming from Putnam County, not from Alachua, not from Marion, because we use that for shred, for cover right now. So can you imagine how clean our woods would look if we said we're going to pay $1 a tire for them to come in, or $2 a tire? We can use that. And if gasification does work the way we're looking at, that might be an avenue. But again, be mindful that you might raise it to 10, but there's only a handful of citizens using that service, because most people get their tires changed and they go, y'all keep the tires. Y'all, I mean, so they're billing, we're billing them, we're charging them a service, and they're paying a private person to dispose of the tires. They'd be better off just to stop doing that. But it's hard to tell people that. It's hard to have that conversation. But I agree. I think anytime we can raise that up, but we really need to work on the people that are not bringing their tires in. Because if they're going to the shop and getting them changed and going, yeah, I'll pay that disposal fee, well, they're paying it twice. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. So that's my point. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I will argue a little bit with you on that one. So when you pay the tire disposal fee at an automotive shop, the automotive shop doesn't take their tires to the dump, to the landfill. They have a commercial, they pay to have a commercial truck come in, and that commercial truck charges the automotive shop for every tire they pick up. So it's just a wash. It's not a profit making, it's a convenience for the customer. But either way, so are we at 10 tires? Is that where we're at?
That was the last proposed.
I'm good with 10. Does it need to be a motion, or?
Yes, sir. You'll need to motion the approval as amended
I'd like to,
after you're done with any other questions related to the fee schedule.
Any other? Okay, I have a question regarding the connection fee for the residential water system connection fee. $3,500 is a new fee, is that correct?
Yes, so when we did our impact fee study, we did not do a study related to St. John's Harbor because at the time we did not own it, nor did we do one to Paradise View or to Port Buena Vista because they were all on their separate individual small water systems. So currently those residents, the impact fee does not apply to any of those residences. Obviously, if we bring in a new residence or a new customer onto any one of those systems, the same or similar type capacity impact exists. So this fee would not apply to anyone on the East Putnam regional system because the impact fees would take precedence. However, it would apply to anyone new on any of the smaller water plants that we operate through the county.
So we'll talk about St. John's Harbor since that's in my district. So St. John's Harbor, you've got somebody out there who might have a water line running in front of them, but they haven't had the need to connect to water, public water at this point. So that's the scenario I'll play. So they have their well goes out. Once their well goes out, they are then required to hook up to the public system?
According to DEP, but that is not something that we govern. It is a statute, but it is governed by the Department of Health.
So when they go to put in for a well permit, they will then that's when they'll get flagged and they'll say, I'm sorry, customer A, but you have to hook up to the public water system. And is it standard practice that everybody in the state charges $3,500, some fee like this? Because to me, where I'm struggling is,
yes,
please.
So
help.
somebody has to go by there and tap the water main, right?
Right.
Which sometimes is a contractor. Somebody has to pay that contractor to do that. It's not going to be the customer, it's our system. So we're going to have to do a pass-through cost of whatever it costs. You got a cost of a meter box, all the connection pieces that are required to do. If we don't have a fee in place, we have no way to collect those upfront costs that are being assessed to the taxpayer.
So how does this connection fee, if we're talking, what's our cost compared to what we would be charging? Is there a $500 difference? Is there a $1,500 difference? I mean, what is our cost versus?
I can't speak to what it's going to cost to have the water main tapped because that all varies. I mean, if it's an 8-inch pipe, it costs this. If it's a 10-inch pipe, it costs that. But hard costs, you're looking at probably about $1,000 between the meter and all the connection pieces and all that kind of stuff, the tap and saddle that goes on the main. You're going to have all of that stuff included in this. So, I mean, you've got to have some kind of leeway in there to pay a contractor, or maybe we can tap the line ourselves. I don't know. But we have to have something in there that says, hey, we have the ability to go get a contractor to bore underneath the road, right? Because it may be a paved road out there and the water main's on one side of the road and the service is on the other. So somebody's got to come either we're going to tear up our brand new road by open cut trenching it, or we're going to have to bore it. All that stuff costs money because we don't own a bore machine. So, I mean, or even we have to send labor out to do it. I mean, we have to assume those costs because it's not fair to have the general fund pay for somebody's water service be run to their house.
All right. Mr. Commando, you were going to comment?
Just to answer your question, yes, it is common that other jurisdictions do charge these kind of fees. And even though your example is where water lines crossing right in front of the property, the statute says within a certain number of feet that you're required to connect. I don't remember exactly.
I have 2,000 in my head, but that might be something else I read.
But some of the costs that Mr. Grimes is talking about is also you may have to extend the water line from that whatever that radius is to. So
it just seems like a high fee to me, particularly for the St. John's water. I mean, I've got some mapping that shows where the water lines are now, and that's an area that we want to expand water, because we realize that once we get more customers on water out there, public water, the less cost per person it would cost us, because we would have, you know, it's quantity.
We
Yeah,
want to
it's quantity.
expand water on all of our systems, because
Yeah.
the same theory is true for all.
True, that I'm just using this one as an
Every time we add
example.
capacity, we add expense to the system, and that's what the premise behind all of the fees are, is to make sure we're covering that upfront fee so that we can grow the system fiduciarily responsibly.
Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I mean, it is quite an expense. It's, you know, it gives you a little bit of sticker shock right off the bat, but if that person, just in your example, has to put down a new well, they're going to pay more than that. And, you know, wherever they are there along the river, they may get good water, they may not get good water. And, you know, being on that public supply, although it is expensive, they will never have to drill another well, and it'll be good water. So it's you know, there's a little silver lining in that cloud.
Yeah, I would like it to be smaller, that's all.
I agree.
Sometimes it's hard because you know you need the revenue to offset the expenditures, obviously. But then it's hard whenever you see such a big number for an individual customer that would have to pay that. So I'm just struggling a little bit with it. Any other comments or questions? All right, now we're back to the board for a recommendation or motion.
I would recommend approval with the change of 10 tires per resident who's paying the solid waste fee.
Second.
All right, any other further discussion or comments? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. All right, going into the penny bill.
That's me too. Thank you, Chair. Senate Bill 1074 was signed into law by Governor DeSantis this year, and it allows businesses to round cash transactions totals up or down to the nearest nickel following the federal halt on the penny production. So obviously pennies are no longer being produced, and at some point they're being phased out. The Senate bill is meant to establish and make sure there is a fair process by which cash transactions will be handled. It only will apply to cash transactions. So if you are here and you're paying for a service or a fee with your normal credit card or debit card, there will be no rounding that's applied. But if you are wanting to pay with a cash transaction and we are not able to furnish a penny, then we will apply the rounding methodology that was prescribed and post the notices so that everybody's well aware of it.
All right, sounds
Madam
pretty cut
Chair,
and
move
dry.
approval.
We have approval, second. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item D.
This is, I guess, us two, team effort here. We do have, maybe a diagram that will help. We did not bring our, put it in front of you.
Sure.
I don't know where your camera goes, but I'm going to do this. So just, we have met with veterans and IT and kind of finalized a few details prior to us being bid ready. This portion down, this middle wall is separating your two offices, so this down is veteran services. You'll see a main entry door here, and this is that waiting congregation area, which was requested, as well as some service closets and ADA accommodating restrooms. And then the large conference room would allow them to expand for like their veterans courts, virtual hearings that assist our veteran population with. And then, of course, your administrative offices for your VSOs and your visiting agencies that come to support our veterans. And then, of course, above that middle line is your IT office. Again, it accommodates multiple kind of work groups of their divisions, help desk program and networking. And then, of course, your director's offices and a conference room for staff. And so this is the final draft version here before you for your consent before we move to bid-ready plans.
Ms. Young, is that by your hands at the sidewalk, the entrance side?
Yes, sir. So here's your corridor. Over here is the supervisor of elections.
Okay, 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 okay. All right.
And so this is your corridor there that's running, covered, obviously pavilion, so that your veterans have a covered
Okay.
walkway. Your veterans will actually have some parking access here that they can get for ADA accessibility, covered as well as here, and of course your IT service. Your IT does also have the roll-up door, which was requested in their dock, so that they can bring in some of their larger equipment.
Okay, so I have some questions. So how many people work in veteran services?
Currently, well, full-time
Oh,
staff
5?
are,
I'm getting a hand that says 4.
fingers.
Okay, 4. Okay.
doesn't include any of our collaborative programs that we get from federal work study programs who are able, our veterans who are on the GI Bill are able to come in and provide service. It doesn't cost the county anything, but we do have to give them office area and staffing.
How many people work in the IT department? So with this configuration, I mean, it looks like you've got 7 offices for 4 people in the Veteran Services office. And then you've got, do you have 14 workstations in the IT department?
Oh, yeah, more than that. You got 6 here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
So we got room to grow.
Yes, sir, which is what both divisions needed. So why, again, in veterans, you only have 4 people who are here every single day, so you bring agencies in, and of course, we have the partnership. So you will have utilization of both of those
Right.
offices on a kind of rotational basis. And then, of course, IT has, accommodation for all of their staff, even those that usually work virtually or work part-time virtually, as well as additional for free.
So one other question, would this make that, other than equipment, would the IT department be able to fully move from the upstairs of the property appraiser and tax collector's office?
If by equipment you mean some of the infrastructure that's there, otherwise, yes, the humans will all be able to relocate.
Okay,
And all
that,
their equipment will fit here.
Of the equipment that can move, yes, there is some equipment we've talked about over the years that just logistically is still, there are some server racks and some things that are going to be still.
phased would be,
Otherwise,
okay. Those were my questions.
Madam Chair, I move approval for the schematic design as presented.
Second.
Barry, any other comments?
I'm.
You're studying on this, I can tell.
I'm digesting on the part about, you said the equipment that's still down there overhead, and what's the problem with getting it out here? I mean, in case we want to do something else with that building.
long term, we have to identify a building that will be resilient for power failures, and this building is not equipped for that as we stand today. We've talked about a number of different alternative options, but for the time being, it will continue until we are able to transition.
is there room to make these changes and additions if that comes to fruition?
The physical space of the equipment is less burdensome than what it's going to take to redo the electric part of the project to make it resilient to powder fenders.
I just don't want to get over there and to go, dang, we ain't got no room to put this or that, or, you know. I'm just hoping that's not an issue.
I believe, I mean, this is more space, when we did the square footage, this is more space for both divisions than what they're currently operating in. So I believe space-wise, we have accommodated, you know, what they need to be kind of all in one.
I'm fully confident that what you're doing now is going to be more than adequate for today's needs, but I'm just thinking about that extra equipment that if we had to do something with that other building and get out of there, do we have a place to put it once we had the power in place here?
Outside office space, so you could always move equipment in the building somewhere else, right? So, I mean.
It could be in the neighboring building.
They had to sit in their office.
It could be in the neighboring building
It could be
and
in a neighboring building. It could
run
be-
wires.
It could be moved one way or the other. I mean, you gotta remember, you still have the 2 suites beyond this to the, I guess it would be the west, where the old visitation office was. So there is multiple spaces still available for, you know, to be used. And plus you've got the 19,000 square feet in the middle if you ever really had to do a major renovation.
So where is the current Veteran Service Office?
This would probably help. That's how the buildings are somewhat faced, right? So you got the sidewalks right here, provided the light underneath your face. That way.
Okay,
I'm good. I got it.
okay. All right, did we have a motion?
Have a second.
No, I don't know if we have a motion.
We
Did
do.
you motion? All right, need a second.
There
Any
needs a
other
second.
comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next we have up the discussion about procurement, or in our case, sale of real property for the Crescent City Nursing Home.
Oh, that's me too. Thank you, Chair. We issued the Crescent City Nursing Home in the sealed bid, and we did not receive a bid that met the minimum threshold set by the board. So at this point, we will reject that bid, or, you know, it formally gets rejected or it fails. And we're seeking guidance from the commission if you'd like to re-solicit that nursing home with a different floor, or if you choose to retain it at this time.
So, Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized, and then I'll go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Julianne, how comfortable are we with the bid, I mean, not the bid, but the appraiser we got for the $10 million? Are we, I guess my question is, you know, when you see a bid come in at $33,200,000, you kind of question, did our $10 million appraisal really be $10 million? So that's my question to you is, I mean, there, I'll leave it alone.
You're all looking at me. I certainly have no expertise in the appraisal arena. I do know that we selected an appraiser whose forte and expertise was in nursing homes. We did not just pick someone who appraises residential homes to go out and make the appraisal of the building. So I don't have any reason to not trust the validity of the numbers that he gave us.
Commissioner Palacier.
Mr. Grimes, you probably know this off the top of your head, but what's that acreage on that property?
2.9.
2.9? I thought it was bigger than that. Never mind.
Well,
Because that's the value on the lake down there, I think.
Sure.
We actually looked at that yesterday.
so my concern is, when this went out to bid, we went through our normal surplus process where you go online and you try to find it. It's not out. This was not on an MLS system that I know of. This was not on an MLS system.
We're not able to access the MLS system because the property is owned by the
Okay,
county.
that's the discussion I want to have. So, that's my point is I feel like that we did our best the first go around through the current process that we have in place. I think that if as we look into our new budget year, and we're going to look into every avenue that we can, and we have already taken that position to surplus things that are no longer needed by the county or that are becoming more of an expense to the county than it is a revenue source, like this in this case. It seems to me like we should be looking at an avenue to where we work with a contractor or a real estate agent firm, a brokerage, that can actually put this out and put it out on the street, on the market, MLS, so that everybody in the country, worldwide, everybody knows there's a nursing home for sale in Crescent City, Florida. I don't feel like, this isn't staff's fault. We did it our normal process, like we just, no different than what we would do if we were selling a truck, right? It's the same process that we use, other than trucks go through govdeal.com or whatever. But I feel like that there needs to be, and I don't care who you pick, I have no preference, nothing at all. Put that out for bid, figure out who can give us the best rate. They only get paid based on the compensation if they sell it. I mean, I don't know how it works, but how do we want to do this? But I don't feel like we marketed this properly.
So, Madam Chair, we were actually approached by someone that offered to assist, obviously for some type of fee, but.
Well, yeah, every real estate agent in Putnam's going to line up.
And I think your comment's correct, that we have to put it out to bid to procure those services, and then we can move from there.
Yeah, I just feel like that we went the first round, we did the best we could with what we were given, and it didn't produce the amount that we needed to produce. And I think that then you have a arm's length transaction, and it's for anybody to go and bid on, and then you get a more fair market that way. You get a better market. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are we allowed to do that legal? Because we first had to declare it surplus, right? And put it out there. So we can do this avenue too at the same time? Okay. The other thing I want to say is I just want to make a statement. You know, sometimes, and I caution people about governing on social media, but the owner of the other nursing home came to us and wanted to buy it. We didn't just put it out there. So your statement, Madam Chair, is really right. We're looking at everything, and if it's got benefit to the county, fine, but I don't think the county should be in the real estate business. And in times, we're looking at repairs that need to be happening here. So I agree with you. I think that if we can get someone to market this one and possibly the other, but that person came to us wanting to buy that one. It's not like we were trying to throw somebody out on the street. That did not happen. So I just think, it's time to get the story right, but, we don't need to be in the real estate business. And if we can get someone to market it, I'm all over that. Thank you.
Other comments from staff on this? All right, so what would be the proposal? What's the wording for this, Mr. Commando?
So to direct staff to create an RFP to find an agency or agent to assist in marketing the property and preparing a new bid, or putting a new RFP out for the properties.
I would think there would be somebody that handles nationally properties and buildings that are built, like that would be possibly interested to, might get somebody from Illinois or wherever that's.
So that's the hope, that when we put an RFP out for a firm to help us market it, that you find somebody with that level of expertise.
Sounds good.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we do what our county attorney just said and put it out for an RPO.
That's a second.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
So, I guess we also need to reject this bid. That's another portion of this.
Madam Chair, I move that we reject the bid that's been proposed to us.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, before we go into public comment, we're going to take a quick recess. All right, this is going into public comment on miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the deputy clerk who sits to the right of the podium. All right, we have comment cards.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
point of privilege.
Yes.
I'd like to read something, a statement.
Okay.
Prepared statement, and then I have a few comments after that.
Okay.
As you know, I was recently appointed to serve on the local elections canvassing board. Since on the board requires taking a course sponsored by the State Division of Elections, I completed this course, but in taking the course, I learned that no member of the canvassing board can actively participate in a campaign of any candidate during the election cycle if the candidate has opposition. Endorsing a candidate is considered to be an active participation in the campaign and is prohibited. I feel strongly that the current Florida governor's race is one of the most important that we in Florida have ever seen. I believe that the person who wins the governor's race this year will have a huge impact on all Floridians as our state faces many issues which will determine the future of our state. These issues include development, population growth, proposed ad valorem tax changes, and the potential of the role of local governments in deciding local issues could be diminished. For these reasons, I have decided to relinquish my role on the local canvassing board in order that I can lawfully endorse and support candidate Paul Ritter for governor, the person who believes is the best choice to lead Florida forward. Respectfully, Walton Pellis here. I want to add a little more to that. When I took this course, and after taking it, I thought that I was going to be in violation because I don't, and not only do I endorse him, but I have financially contributed to his campaign. I called Mr. Overturf and made him aware of that, and he said, well, maybe not. He said, let's wait till the next canvassing board meeting and we will address that with the attorney. And I thought about it and thought about it more, and I said, you know, and according to the test or the seminar, you can give them money and not be participating in their campaign. That just makes no sense to me, but I didn't make any, but I felt badly about it. So anyhow, I'm supporting Mr. Renner for governor, putting it out there, and it's even going to be more public here soon. They called me for a comment and a picture with hopefully the future governor. So I'm definitely supporting him, and that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing here. It's kind of our elections board, and I hate to throw you under the bus, Mr. Overturf, but some of the things they see, I see totally different. You know, if you're not supporting somebody, you just do what you do in the booth, and you have no interaction whatsoever, and you keep your how you mark your ballot in total privacy. But I just felt like it's the prudent thing to do, and I wanted to say it now so you would have time to, I'm guessing maybe Commissioner Newbold will move up to the primary, and yourself or Commissioner Alexander could be the backup. Just a thought. Mr. Newbold, Commissioner Newbold.
So, Commissioner Palcier, I appreciate your statement and your resignation from the canvassing board. I do have a couple questions. Had you previously served on the canvassing board when you served as a commissioner before?
I did in 2014 election cycle, I believe it was.
Okay, and you had the training then too?
They didn't offer it then.
Okay.
It was not offered.
Okay, so when you did your public endorsement at the restaurant that was announced in the Palatka Daily News, was that before or after you took your training?
Prior.
Okay.
I'd given money prior to that also.
Okay. All right. I think it's just fair to discuss the timeline.
Yeah, so I'm fair with that. I'm fine with that. I didn't want to do anything that would jeopardize his election at all in Putnam County, because I stuck my neck way out there and I said, I'm going to deliver Putnam County. I think I got enough friends and kinfolk to make that happen. I hope y'all don't make me a liar, but I can't tell. I told him, I said, I can't promise to the other 66, but I'm going to do my best in Putnam for him to push him over the top.
Well, I appreciate your resignation and your candor and your honesty. But I want to be clear that this situation does raise concerns about integrity and public trust. And we want to continue to have someone serving on the canvassing board that remains impartial and avoid even the appearance that their personal political support could influence their official duties. And I know, based on your comments, it sounds like that you were challenged with that, and that you've admitted publicly that, hey, I made a mistake, and I respect that. But
I don't feel like I made a mistake.
Okay.
Because I didn't know about it, and I made that donation prior to taking this 4-hour class that the Elections Commission requires.
Okay.
And so best thing to do is just, when in doubt, get out.
Okay. I think it's just a reminder that the public office comes with a higher standard of integrity and responsibility. I would like to recommend that Commissioner Newbold be moved from the alternate position to serve as the primary for the Board of County Commissioner representative on the canvassing board for the upcoming election.
Second.
Second. Sorry.
I don't know that I have to take a vote. It looks, according to the Florida statutes, do I have to take a vote? Okay. All right. Which means I probably can't, if we're going to take that route, then I probably can't make the motion.
I make the motion, we move Commissioner Newbold to the primary spot on the canvassing board.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then as far as, I'm willing to serve as the alternate on this, as the BOCC representative, and speaking with Supervisor of Elections, since my name will not be appearing on the ballot, he didn't seem to think that was a problem, and he also felt like that there was some already some precedent set through an Auditor General's opinion or Attorney General's opinion. Yes, okay.
And I submitted my letter of resignation to Mr. Overturf yesterday, actually, so he already has a copy of that in his file.
Mr. Commander, do you see any issues with what we're discussing?
I would defer to the supervisor of elections on, he deals with that, and I can reach out to their canvassing board council if that helps, but.
I feel like we have a time frame we have to meet, which is Thursday. This week there's a canvassing board meeting Thursday where they'll be reviewing ballots. Mm-hmm. So with that, we have a recommendation to appoint me as the alternate.
I make the recommendation.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
I got a question first.
Yes.
Has anybody else supported any candidates along the way to
I have
not find themselves in a problem? Okay.
I have not, have you? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, this will ensure the county has both a primary and alternate representative in place, and that the canvassing board can continue its work without interruption. Thank you. All right, public comments. So we have up Mr. George Dix.
Yes,
Number
sir.
one.
First time here. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My name's George Dix. I live at 116 Moccasin Creek Drive in Palatka. I want to come here because to ask a question. I woke up along with everybody else on our road yesterday morning to many unmarked vehicles, many people, men and women, that were digging in everybody's yard. All holes everywhere. It's like, what is going on? So I made several phone calls. I ended up at Mrs. Wilkinson's office. I called zoning and just, trying to find out what is this, and was instructed that, anyways, I tried to ask several employees. None of them could speak English. I got one word out of one of them that was internet. So anyways, I made several calls. Your office informed me that that had been put on Facebook as a notification. I don't understand that. I don't get on Facebook. There's a lot of people that get on Facebook. Apparently I'm trying to find out who approved this to begin with. And I'm not saying that it might be better to have, we don't have internet down there. If you don't have cellular or what have you, you don't have internet. I get that. And my real beef isn't, number one, there should be notification by mail. Somebody, you can't just post something like that on Facebook. There wasn't a person on our street. I went to 10 different people. None of them had a clue what was going on. Everybody was upset. And so this is my question. And I have approached Road Commission, several people, maybe your office, about having work done on our road in the past, Moccasin Creek Drive. I've been told repeatedly that your road is a private road. Now, I didn't know that when I bought there. I've lived there for 8 years. I didn't know that, but they say it's a private road, and we have no jurisdiction. We can't do anything with it. Well, the road is to the point that it's almost impassable. We actually have had issues with emergency vehicles that could not get down to pick someone up. I wish I had my notes, but I had the fellow with the road commission come down the road, look at it. He talked to the fire chief and what have you, and anyways, nothing got done about it. It's the same thing. It's a private road. Well, if that's a private road and we can't get this mess, I mean, even if we could just get it graded or something, okay? Again, I don't have an issue per se with the internet going in, although the notification's pathetic. There was no real notification. But how is it that we can have these people come in? I'm told they can't work in the road because it's a private road. But yet, who granted authority for these people to come in and dig in everybody's yard, my private property, without notifying me or me giving approval? I'd like to know that. And it's taking place. It's a mess. They have dug up. You're aware of it, correct? Because your office was the one that put it on Facebook.
Yes, sir. We're gonna. Well,
how does that happen? I'm really upset about it. Not the fact that this internet, and again, the way it was handled, but the fact every time I've tried to request something on that road, we literally had a resident where an ambulance, her husband was in bad shape. They wouldn't go down there. She had to bring her husband out farther onto the road to get an emergency vehicle. But yet we can't get anything done. People can't afford to do that road. That's just the way it is. We can't afford that. I've tried to go to the neighbors house to house to house to see if we could get enough money to get someone private to come in there and spread gravel. And honestly, the people don't have the money. Some might, but a lot don't down that road. Let's face it. They just don't really have it.
yes, sir. So what we normally do is we take everybody's comments and then we engage after we've heard from everybody.
Okay.
So if you'll just
can
sit
I get some input after you?
Yes, sir.
Talk about this?
Yes,
My
sir.
phone
If you'll
number's
just hang
on
out
there.
for a few minutes, let us get through the other speaker cards, and then we'll try to discuss anything that's come up in front of us today.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you,
Thank
Mr. Dix. Tim Hotellin.
Good morning, Tim Hotelling, 105 Riverside Way, San Mateo. Got to say this meeting's been particularly interesting.
We're not done yet.
So anyhow, I've got a couple of other comments. First on that selling the nursery. My wife used to do that kind of stuff. She knows the percentages on a real estate. She puts out a contract for the services of a realtor, and it didn't cost, and she was doing federal government contracting.
I'm sure we'll get plenty of interested bidders.
You list what you want done, and you put it on a contract and say, I'll pay X.
Correct.
And you don't make somebody really rich. As far as the Forest Service roads, I would venture to say that if they're not allowed, the way those things evolved, the houses were there when they made the forest. It's part of the law that they're there. The Forest Service has to acknowledge them and take them there, as I understand it. And I believe I heard there may have been other civil suits. I would encourage you to encourage your lawyer to come up with some research as to what other entities have done and can be done. Begging and pleasing, especially political folk that are blown by multiple winds, isn't really a winning situation. And I would suggest you consider a civil suit that says, you won't let us fix it, it's yours, we have requirements, fix it. Anyhow, sorry. The reason I started to get up here to begin with was Miss Morgan had her economic presentation, economic development, and if you I paid attention anyhow, the nice visuals. Each and every one of them had boats. Each and every one of them had blue water. Each and every one of them had fish. We have a fishing fund that is $1 for every license, and there's buku dollars until Mr. Turner wants to make it a boat ramp thing. By law, when it was created, it was supposed to be fixing habitat. You have all of your people getting into this boat launch images of America. Yeah, they're launching the boats and driving 50 miles to Astor to find a bass. I would encourage habitat reinforcement so that we can have some fish. And the only way that's going to happen, because we're a poor country, or a county, and all of the counties, there's like 4 or 5 counties that share the St. Johns River, most of them in the same situation. We've been gainfully ignored. If you pick a look at the billions of dollars that have gone to Lake Okeechobee, and they don't even mention our name. You turn Jacksonville radio and they're talking about give money to fix Lake Okeechobee, and they don't even mention the river outside their door. I would, if we're going to place our hoorah here about come to Palatka and Putnam County and you can fish and have a good time, then we should do something about making sure that we can fish and have a good time.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Riley? Morning, Ms. Riley.
Good morning. My name is Biddy Riley. I live at 272 Indian Lakes Forest Road. Before I start, I did bring pictures and video. Yes, ma'am. That's me. I did bring pictures and videos. That was something that Sheriff's Department, Sheriff's Office mentioned. They also told somebody else on the street the same thing, and she got death threats. So
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
they also told another lady on the street the same thing, to get pictures and videos, and she got death threats.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
anyhow, I'm here, so it's kind of late now, right? Okay. I'm here because Linda Street at Walker Avenue has deteriorated to the point that I can no longer safely, reliably access my property. I ask this board, who is responsible for the road? In 2019, Linda Street was a hard-packed, usable county road. I could pull my horse trailer with a mid-sized pickup. I can even drive a smart car on it. Today, even with a full-size, four-wheel drive truck, getting down that road is a struggle. I cannot safely haul my horse or trailer on that road, never mind the smart car. What changed? When the county road maintainer contractors changed, the new ones came in and widened all the roads in the upper lake estates. Therefore, that once compacted hydrophobic sand that made the roads passable before was destroyed by being cut, and now the surface is like beach sand. Then more problems. Rain washes massive amounts of sand down the hill in the ditch that is now Linda Street. First, a sinkhole opened at the end of my driveway. Tony with MSBU came out and he quickly fixed it. I thanked him for that. A larger problem has never been addressed. I tried to maintain it myself. I used my tractor to create drainage ditches and build the road back up. But after I did the work, the maintainer would come through, flatten it, and drag it down into the curve. Eventually, I was reduced to just pushing the sand across the street so I could get out of my driveway. Then, the four-wheelers and dirt bikes. They spin their tires and loosen the sand. They tear up the road more, and they make it deeper. I've spent my own time, fuel, and energy pulling delivery drivers and other people out when they got stuck. I eventually had to stop because I can't keep repairing the county road for free and replacing my broken equipment. And when I tried to get the county to enforce the laws concerning four-wheelers and being illegal on county roads, I was sent from one department to the other. The sheriff's department told me to contact MSBU. MSBU told me to contact the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office then told me there aren't enough personnel and that I should take photographs of the people on their four-wheelers. I ask again, who is responsible for this road? Because right now, every department seems to have a reason why it isn't their responsibility. I'm not asking you for a paved road. I'm asking for an occasionally maintained county road that I can safely use to get to my home. I've offered suggestions. I've requested assistance. I've been told someone would come out. It's just lip service. This has gone on long enough. I'm asking this board to please stop passing the buck, identify who is responsible, inspect Linda Street, address the drainage and road-based problems, and establish an actual maintenance and enforcement plan. I should not need a four-wheel drive truck just to get home on a county-maintained road, and I should not have to maintain the road myself. I thank you for your time. If you have the paper, I put a little housekeeping there underneath it.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak from the public? All right, seeing that, we'll close the public comment section. Are there any commissioners who would like to address any of the issues that were come before us today?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Miss Riley, I'm your commissioner out in that area. That's the first I've heard of this problem. The gentleman over in the back with the blue shirt on, waving his hand at you, is our Public Works Director. Tony works under him. The MSBUs were created years ago because the county was not doing the roads out there, but maybe every 3 months. I was the president of the Landowners Association, a volunteer organization for Interlochen Lake Estates. So we needed more service. The problem is the terrain out there as you go north and you go west gets really bad. Actually, if you go more to the east, it's pretty flat land there, but it's where you live, I know. So work with Mr. Stout, work with Tony. The MSBU is a citizens-run committee, so I would encourage you to go to those meetings. You can be on that committee. I can put you on there. And get your voice heard. But for 40 some odd years that I lived out there, we have fought four-wheelers, motorcycles, side-by-sides. I mean, my Lord, they come down on weekends in trailer loads to come tear up the roads out there. And the only people that really can enforce it is the sheriff's department. But if you'll stay in touch with me, I'll be glad to help you. I'll give you my card when this is over, okay? Thank you.
And Linda Street and Walker Drive are both Class 2 MSBUs? Okay, all right. Okay, there's also some private road out there as well, but it's your area, so you know that. All right, and I'll address Mr. Dix. Mr. Dix, thank you for calling me. I apologize that yesterday I was not available. I was coming back from a trip. But so two different things. The road is privately owned. It's not publicly owned. And as we discussed here today, and we are not allowed to spend public dollars on private citizens' roads. What you have in front of you, I did go online and just simply say, hey, that where everybody's getting internet in my district, in Barden and Bostwick, because it's exciting news. However, we are not in charge of where there isn't anything that the Board of County Commissioners can do I have no idea where they're putting the internet. I just got a public notice from the state, and the states authorized them, and the money came from the federal government, to be honest. The money came down through the federal government to the state, and then it's been in the works for like 4 or 5 years. My guess would be that they have a utility easement out in your area and they're following that utility easement. I've got the same problem in Barden. Matter of fact, my neighbor 2 doors over called me because she thought they were digging up her drain field. But they should have documentation of where they can and can't go, and they should have to stay in the utility easements, which a utility easement would give them the right to be able to put any kind of utility, and internet service would fall under the utility easement. So that would be my guess, but I don't have a magic ball on it. So, but they would have to stay within that utility easement would be my guess.
Come back to the podium so we can hear you.
I think I tried to address that because the road itself is public, is a private road. It's a private road. But but you also have
other people can come in and dig on private property without even telling us.
do you have electricity?
Yeah, I have electricity.
So
What does that mean?
because that's how they got the electricity is through utility easement. So utility easement says that anything that provides a public service such as internet, electricity, if there were water, available water, those kind of things would all fall within that utility easement. So if you pulled up your deed, you should be able to see on your deed a strip of land or somewhere in your legal description that says subject to a 30-foot or 60-foot wide utility easement. What that utility easement then does is allows other entities that are utility providers, not the county, the utility providers to come in within that easement and put in utilities. But that has nothing to do with the road. The road is a private road. It is owned by the citizens.
I know I've heard that over and over, but it's to the point where you can't.
If it becomes impassable, we are allowed to do a one-time, I believe so, right? No, not even then.
So I was told that before too, but it didn't happen. I had fellow
But
came
not
down-
everybody wants to be on a public road. I've got a plenty of them in my district that people refuse to sign that over, and Commissioner Wilkinson's right. Some people don't want to live on a public road. They want to drive their four-wheelers, their side-by-sides. We can't control that then. So, I mean, I can make people mad in my district by going, we're going to make that private road a public road. They'll run me out of town for that. So trust me.
I know
Yeah.
at one point in time, this probably was about 8 years ago, I think it was right before we moved in, that they had sent out a letter to ask so people could vote on that, whether they wanted to have the county take it over. Apparently, there wasn't enough participation.
And like the lady that just came in front of you, she's paying an extra tax to have her road, an extra fee to have her road maintained. And so that's the only other way to do that, is if you wanted to go down that road. But you just said that people didn't do that 8 years ago. They're probably not going to do it now.
Right. So do you believe that when something like this is going to take place on someone's property, that posting it on Facebook is appropriate? I just know other circumstances where people have been notified in writing, they get a letter, do you want to participate? If the internet's coming through, it's cheaper to have it hooked up when they first go through rather than have it come through after the fact. To post it on Facebook?
It wasn't a public service announcement. It was like, hey, y'all, here, they're coming.
Correct.
But in all reality, it's the internet company's job to tell you where they're going to be putting their line and all of that. I could have done nothing.
Well,
and
who
he
would
would have.
require that? Because none of that was done. None of the vehicles had any identification on them. I've talked to 5 different employees. They were nice guys. Couldn't speak English. I had no clue. No one had a clue what was going on down there.
Yes, sir, and we do not have jurisdiction over them. We do not have any jurisdiction over them.
These people coming down our road and digging up on our property and putting this stuff in is, who is, so obvious, my understanding is the tags in the yard were AT&T. They had flags. I'm told it's Comcast that's putting this in.
It could be
I
either
don't
one.
even know that for sure
It could be
because I
either
can't
one.
speak to anybody that speaks English.
I understand your frustration, I do, but there isn't anything that this board has jurisdiction over the internet companies or the utility companies. They have the right to come in because there's an existing utility easement in place.
But we do live in York County.
Yes, sir.
You do oversee the county and.
I have never seen a map that says where those where those internet lines are going. Never seen it. Matter of fact, I got my son.
But I'm thinking you would have some kind of say-so as to what people are doing in our county.
We do not have control over a utility company or an internet provider. They never came to us for a permit. They didn't get permission from us. We did not do their public service announcements.
Do they do this without a permit?
I didn't say that. I said they didn't come to the county. They don't have to come to the county. They're a utility company.
It's similar to the power company having a power line in there, and if they have a breakage or a need to change out a transformer or whatever, you have to, because I know I have to, on my cow pasture, I have to have a a lock on a gate that they have a key to, that they can get in there and maintain that without my notification, so, yeah.
Well, so who would grant them? I guess I'm trying to figure, who okayed them to do this?
The state of Florida, probably, and the federal government. The federal government's the one that gave them the funding. It's a lot bigger than us.
Mr. Commando.
I get it, but,
would the,
okay, I would suggest in the future, if something like this is gonna happen, that maybe we would actually notify people if we knew about it. Obviously, we knew about it.
We
Rather
don't-
than put a post on Facebook. So
We
you
don't
have-
know about it. They don't come to us. So
It was
telecommunications.
posted on Facebook, sir.
What was posted
There
was
could have been a letter put out to people who live there to let them know what in the world is going on.
well, I definitely learned a lesson. Next time I won't post anything. Thank you.
Mr. Commando,
I-
would the Public
That's ridiculous.
Service Commission be a place where he could start?
Usually for telecommunications, yes, that's where the PSC, but, telecommunications, phone line, fiber, internet, they actually have a greater authority to do things than even the utility companies for your electric, water, and sewer. So they're allowed to go into any right-of-way. They don't need any permission from us, and they can do whatever business they see fit.
And, okay, in response to your comment, well, in the future, you won't do anything. Well, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking to.
That's not what she said. She said she
won't
tried to
post
do a
anything.
public
I'm
service.
just saying, right, to have something in writing so people are aware at least of what's going on.
She was trying to do a good thing and let the public know that
That's
this
all.
was coming.
That's all I was doing.
I would suggest that you contact the Public Service Commission. Down on our end, each utility contractor is going to do it a little differently, I suppose. Down in, around Lake Como, there were some signage, little posted signs put up, internet, utility work
Right.
coming soon.
I agree with Commissioner Newbold. That's probably where you're going to get your best answers from is Public Service Commission.
Okay. Well, all right, and I'll finish up by, is there any chance that someone can take another ride down that road and assess it to see about the possibility of grading it? It's awful. It's, like I say, we've had ambulances that wouldn't go down and pick up one of the residents down there. Is there, you can do that one time? Is that what you're saying?
No, sir, that's not true. That's what I'm hearing from staff. We can't do that one time even. It's a private road.
Okay.
Stick around, though. I'm going to say something in a minute. Stick around for just a second, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments? All right, committee updates. Are there any commissioner committee updates?
I have none.
I have none.
I have none.
We made a little bit of forward motion with the animal code enforcement project that's going on. We've had conversations with our judicial partners. We've been in touch with a code design specialist. We've had further communication with the clerk's office. We're making positive progress there. We'll, as soon as we have a date for another meeting, we'll make that known. But it's nice to see a positive direction there. And I guess I'll be at the next canvassing board meeting on the 13th.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Appointments. Are there any appointments, starting with Commissioner Newbold?
I have none.
Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
Commissioner Pelletier?
I have none.
Okay, so I have for Parks and Rec for District 2, Kelly McGahee.
Oh, cool.
And for Animal Services, I'd like to make a motion for an at-large position for Robert Pierce. He does meet the qualifications as we discussed at the last board meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, those are the two appointments. I also want to discuss and direct staff to look at a possible policy regarding non-Putnam County residents. I'd like to make sure that we do not have any non-Putnam County residents serving on our appointments on our boards. So while a lot of our boards say members from specialized categories or respective districts, it was brought to my attention that a member on the Fair Authority potentially was not a Putnam County resident at the time they were appointed. And in asking our county attorney, it sounded like we didn't really have anything that prevented that. So what I'm asking is that the county staff prepare, or Mr. Commando, and work with county staff on creating an ordinance so that if you're going to be an appointed member of a board in Putnam County, that you are a Putnam County resident.
I agree.
Yeah,
Is there any further discussion about that?
I have no problem.
All right, we're good on that? Okay. Moving into comments. Clerk of Courts.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have no updates on our end.
Okay.
Thank you.
County Attorney.
Nothing else, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator Suggs.
Nothing, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner comments, starting with Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to read an email, and I want to thank Mr. Suggs for his hard work on this. Been trying to get one of your constituents out in your area, Miss Commissioner Wilkinson, Leon Silcox, had asked me about the lighting of the bridge, so Mr. Suggs really went to work on this. Finally got an answer back yesterday from Mr. Sievert at DOT. Good morning, everyone, and please excuse our delay in responding. The latest bill doesn't have the whole month of lights we're on. The next bill will have a whole month. The lights are billed with the fender lights, therefore we will pay for it. The FDOT is going to pay for that bill for the lights of the bridge.
Okay.
The cost to install the lights was $21,717.96. Materials were $42,186.99 for a total cost of $63,904.95. I said, Mr. Siebert, to be clear, the combined 5-year FTOD budget was $4.75 million, and it was achieved at $63,904, and there will be no cost, and he said that is correct. So what a great asset for our, and he sent me a breakdown. Mr. Suggs can email that to y'all, but what a great asset to our community and for the price that it was, and it's not costing Putnam County taxpayers a dime. So I appreciate that. Other than paying their taxes to the state of Florida. In September, there's going to be a meeting, and I can't give it to you right now because I don't know it for sure, but there's talks, we've been in talks with the chamber and the internet providers who are putting broadband down, fiber down in the ground right now or up on the pole. One of the providers wants to do a big kickoff, and I believe it's one that you mentioned from when you stood up here, Mr. Dix. So you'll see something coming out in September about a big celebration of broadband throughout the community. This started many, many, many years ago, and federal dollars flowed to Florida, and the Department of Broadband had one person in the state of Florida. So now they have more, and they were able to get these grants pushed out. They got a timeline to get them out. I think by October of this year, they got to be finished up. So they're really working hard to get this fiber in the ground. And it's going to be, they were serving underserved or underserved or not served at all communities. And that's where they identified your tracts of land through the Census Bureau. So it was in combination with the federal government and the state of Florida working that out. But it's going to be beneficial for all of Florida and all of rural Florida, because as we all know, the internet is most important now, and it's got to be reliable and affordable. So those are my comments. Stay tuned. You're going to see that happen in September, and you'll know who it is then. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Thank you. I don't have a whole ton. Given that we're in budget season and we have the possibility of Amendment 3 coming into reality, I'd like to get support to direct staff to look into alternative revenue generation opportunities. I think we need to be ahead of the game in case, Amendment 3 does, come into play. Anyway, that's kind of the direction I'd like to get some support on.
I don't think they heard
I didn't
you.
understand it either. Here it will.
Okay. We're looking at Amendment 3 that, we're in our budget process. We're looking at our expenditures, our incomes, Amendment 3, I'm sure you're aware of the implications of Amendment 3. If that happens, we're going to have to assess ourselves and decide what services we want to continue with and what we want to pair, how we're going to, marry up our income and our expenses. And there are counties around the state who use different devices that are non-value based to fund the priorities that they have within their county. We don't use any of those vehicles right now, but as we're going into this space, I think we need to look at every opportunity available for us to provide the essential services and the quality of life that our county expects and demands. So anyway, it's just and I think we have to give staff direction to look in those spaces, and I think it's just a prudent financial vehicle.
So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to understand. Are you talking about a third party? Or are you talking about us going through the budget items line item by line?
No, I'd just like to give the staff the direction to turn over every rock, look at every vehicle that's available to us to generate income in the future.
All right. Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Newbold. I do want to say, one thing I was always concerned about with Amendment 3 is that we start running parallel budgets and we start losing good employees because we know the number. We know it right now. We know $16 million hit. We already know that. We know that number. And I can guarantee you that our finance department has already not figured out. They're already working on what would happen if that number takes place. But I also believe that if Amendment 3 passes, the legislators are going to have to give us the tools to operate government. We are a political subdivision of the state of Florida. So we do what they don't want to do, basically. We get that unfunded mandate thing. So I think that a lot of conversation around the end of the year, first of the year, is going to really hit hard if it passes. If it doesn't, I'm understanding the governor still wants to call a special session. I don't know how that's going to play out since he's going to be leaving office. But I believe in my heart of hearts, we'll survive. We'll get by. We might have to, really tuck in the sheets on the bed a little bit more, but we'll find a way. And then when we can't find a way, we'll go to Tallahassee and say, we can't find a way. And we need some help here on how to navigate this. But I don't want, if we run parallel budgets, I'm scared to death that we're going to lose good people for no reason right now. And sometimes you lose the people you don't want to lose. Not that we want to lose any of our people. I just think that it's a little scary for us to go, we're going to cut this program out or shut down this for 8 months or whatever the case may be, because we'll be ready. And I'm fully aware and fully convinced that our staff will be ready for that. But we do know the number. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Well, I'm not fully convinced that we're going to come up with the state's going to come up with a really good plan for the constrained counties. I would like to be prepared with different alternatives, just in case, we are going to make it. It's going to be, and I'm in favor of a new model for when it comes to taxing our homes. It's what we've got is broken in my mind, and we will be okay. But if we don't get ahead of it and look at all the possible options, I'd rather do that in advance as opposed to be there at the 11th hour on how are we going to make all this work. So I'm not asking for any changes. I'm just asking for the ability for staff to look in every different direction possible to keep the quality of life we have.
Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
This has been some time ago when I brought it forward about surplus properties we have. And is that the answer? No. But nickels and dimes make quarters and quarters make dollars. Mm-hmm. And we put everything we've got up that we don't need or want, and it might fill a service for 1 year and get us by till we can do better. You think, well, that's just 1,000 over there. What are we going to do with that? Well, it's just 1,000 we can add to Julianne over there. I'm sure she can find a home for it. I've never not seen her have a problem to put some money somewhere. So we're going to have to tighten our belt, and I'm like Commissioner Newbold and Harvey. We will get through it. It will not be easy. It will be a challenge, but I think you've got a board that is set up for that. I like a challenge. It makes you sharpen your pencil and dig in and do a little better. So I think, this, again, I'll say it, what we have now and what's in place, this is the devil we know. And nobody likes taxes. Absolutely do not like taxes. But we know we can function and we can operate and we can maintain like we are. This thing coming out, we don't know. We don't have a clue. It could be great, or it could really be bad. I got it on my phone. I think I sent it to all of y'all, where Governor DeSantis was on the Today Show, and he was telling about his tax reform, property tax, and he said we had 32, I believe it was, physically constrained counties, and he had a plan for them. He had something for us. I wish he would share it. I'm ready to see it, but I've not heard any more about it. But we'll get through it, but we're going to have to just tighten our belt. That's all we can do.
All right. I have a couple comments too. I do think, Commissioner Newbold, I agree with you. I do think that we have to give some direction to staff. It's not fair to staff to have to go through and can they do it? Yeah. Will they certainly look at each department? I feel certain they will, to figure out if there are things that they could cut, and if Amendment 3 passes. But there's two sides to that. It's just like in your private business. You're going to look at what kind of revenue can you bring in, and Commissioner Palatka hit on it, which is, do we have properties or assets that we don't necessarily need that we can surplus them? We're already going down that road. Also, I would say, are there leases that we could put into place that create revenue? So when you're looking at the revenue side, for instance, I'll just go ahead and say something. The property out next to the sheriff's office, there's a gentleman on there that has, and I like him, I'll have nothing against him personally, but he has cows on that property and has had cows on that property for years. He needs to be paying the county a lease payment. And we absolutely should have somebody negotiating with him. And if he's not willing to pay a payment that's fair on a per acre per basis based on his cows being on that land, then he takes his cows off of the county land and we put it out for bid and somebody else leases that property. And I think there are lots of opportunities like that we continue to look at in the county and see if there's opportunities. We had we used to have a hair salon right down the road, right down this aisle, whatever, the complex, I'll speak in a minute, down the complex. And they used to pay $1,000 a month in lease revenue. They came before us at the time, and I remember it coming up, they didn't they couldn't afford it because we were going up on their lease significantly. I think we were going up to $1,500 or something. It went from $1,000 to $1,500 or $500 to $1,000. I don't remember. Either way, they came in front of us, and at the end of the day, we couldn't reach an agreement. And so that property, that building down there, which is leasable, just like the Chinese restaurant that pays a lease, is now been vacant. And so that's $1,000 a month that we haven't gotten for the last few years. And like you said, Commissioner Palatka, all of that adds up. And nickels turn into quarters and quarters turn into dollars. That's a great analogy. And everything that we look at, I really don't know that we need somebody in Tallahassee, a lobbyist. Why do we need a lobbyist for? When I look at last year's revenue, this last year, what did we get? We all went up there and lobbied for that. So why do we need to pay a lobbyist every month? Listen, I did, because that's exactly right. We shouldn't have to go up there with our hats in our hands begging for money every year. And if we have to do it, then why do we hire a lobbyist to do it? If we're the ones doing that anyway, why do we have a lobbyist? So I think when you start looking at, those are things that I have thought about cutting or generating. Those are just some of the things that I have thought about. Do you look into the frequency of mowing? I mean, the statute doesn't say you have to mow the side of the roads. Doesn't. Now, do we go from all of a sudden we're mowing it every other month to then we turn it into every 2 or 3 months? That might be what we end up getting to. We're going to have to get into the weeds on some of that. But at the end of the day, I would not propose cutting staff. I would do the opposite and say, let's look for every opportunity to generate revenue, and let's look at every opportunity to tighten our belts in each department, and that goes all the way to the constitutionals. We can't continue to give millions of dollars to certain constitutionals and then cut ourselves short, because then that services is not being provided to our citizens. So that's where I'm at, but I do agree with you. We need to give some direction. So are you suggesting that we have a workshop on this, or what are you suggesting?
No, I think we just give them the latitude to look in every direction, and, you know, we are in budget season. They'll just simply gather information and bring it back to us as a board with, you know, recommendations in the future, or, you know, possibilities that may help us in this endeavor.
Well, those were just some things that were on top of my head. Go ahead, Ms. Young.
Thank you, Chair, and all great ideas by all of you that you're bringing to the table and to the forefront. So as we all know, we're navigating where Amendment 3 goes kind of by feel at this point. I think that in conversations with multiple commissioners, Commissioner's Newbold request, or at least conversation today, is more promulgated by the conversation that some of those alternative revenue generating sources would require quite a bit of time for implementation. So before we cross the bridge of what could we reduce or eliminate as far as service-wise or expense-wise, the question may come to the board in a form of, what of these alternative sources would you like to entertain? And so there needs to be some conversation as to where's the appetite for alternative sources as we simultaneously look at what could we massage or reduce or eliminate through the expenditure side. But that really is going to be at the board's direction as to, some of those alternative sources could require ballot measures, some of them would require board votes, some of them could require a financial study, much like an impact fee does. Those are things that we can't well implement very quickly. The timeline there is going to be prescribed. So I guess the conversation comes back to the quicker things, the renting property, leasing properties, great revenue sources, right? Those are great ideas, and certainly something that we ought to utilize our assets to give every return we can. Those are more quick turns. We can liquidate those assets into something that's generating revenue quickly. The other items are not. And so if we would like to entertain any of those conversations, that's where we need some conversation or direction from the board at this time.
Commissioner Newbold, I'm looking back at you.
I would like to give them the latitude to look into, there's going to be a lot of educational opportunities out there ahead of this Amendment 3. There are going to be people from all over the state getting together to look at all of these options. There are counties out there that have different taxing models than we have, and we need to look at all of these things at this point in time. And I'd like to give the staff the latitude to bring those options to us and let us peruse them.
So Ms. Young, am I understanding that you guys don't sound like you're on the same page? Sounds like you're asking for what are those options, and he's asking for you to prepare those options. Am I losing something in this?
I'm not asking him I'm asking him to prepare options.
Okay.
You know, just to arm us with the information that we need to know what tools we have to work with.
Okay.
I think we are all, the entire dais is all on the same page. Unfortunately, most of that page is blank because we don't know what's coming in the future. Mm-hmm. So we did have the budget workshop where we started this conversation as to where do we go next and how do we get prepared for what's potentially coming. And so, yes, I believe Commissioner Newbold and I are on the same page, as well as all of you guys, which is, at what point do you want to start talking? Do we adopt similar taxing structures, drainage MSTUs, countywide services, surtax additions, and how do they offset, or what's required if we were? Because some of them have an offsetting implication. If you do this, then you have to reduce your mill by this. And so obviously there's a lot of different components that come into it, but those are the things that are going to require much more time. So if we want to begin looking into those, and you guys picking and choosing the ones that you feel like you're going to narrow down into being an alternative source of supplemental dollars when and if we lose ad valorem, then those are conversations that I think Commissioner Newbold is trying to stimulate.
Okay. Commissioner Pelletier?
At one time, we talked about all these properties that we've got. Some of them were half acre to 70 acres, seems like they're scattered all over, that we thought about sending out letters to those adjoining landowners and say, hey, the county wants to surplus this, you know, make them know it's there, and then do you want to do it? They would jump up and say, hey, I don't want old Bill, my other neighbor over here, getting it. I'm going to go ahead and put a bid in, or I want to do whatever it takes to put it in my fold. So that might be something we could do that could get a ball rolling. It's a lot of paperwork, I get that, but it's something that could bring in some money and put it back on the tax rolls, is something that we're just sitting there eating every year.
So we've scrubbed those property lists through the years by initiatives of the boards. We're pretty clean in properties that are truly surplus or don't serve a public purpose. As they're sheeted to us now, there's a continuous process where the minute it is as sheeted, we go ahead and prepare that bid in order to issue it back out and get it back on the tax roll.
Right.
Certainly there are some that we've reserved for the public purpose.
Sure.
If there's one that gets identified through the process of something we thought we needed, but now staff in the divisions now no longer believe it has a need, we bring it to you all to get final approval to surplus it and then issue it for bid. So I don't believe you've got a huge amount of property out there that isn't currently serving a public purpose or reserved for public purpose that would be available for sale, but we always would look.
Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
And I'd like to kind of emphasize what Ms. Young said just now. And in Lock and Lake Estates, we look at these properties that are sheeted to us, and we look at them for a few reasons. One, do we want greenscape in the area, or do we need drainage in that area? Most of those lots are 75 by 125. As you well know, it's the most platted, undeveloped subdivision in the state of Florida. So we do look at those lots. Public Works looks at them and says, we got a possibility that a road might be enhanced in this area. We need drainage for that. So we do look at that as these lots come into play. And sometimes we do need them, sometimes we don't, and we do exactly what Commissioner Pelletier said. We contact Bob and Bill. Do y'all want to buy it, split it? Or if somebody wants to buy it themselves, we don't care. But we don't want to be in the real estate business. But we do look at those as they come in very, very carefully.
All right, Commissioner Newbold, I do support you under your comments, and I do support what you're saying for the ability for staff to look into the options and come back with us. Are you wanting to set up a separate workshop of that, to do a budget workshop? I think we have a budget meeting coming up, but it's not necessarily a workshop, correct?
Well, you have your September budget hearings.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So do you want to have?
I don't think a separate workshop is necessary at this point.
Okay.
We don't even know what the options are really at this point in time. I would imagine at some point between now, especially once we know what's going to happen with that amendment, then I think that's the time for public workshops, because we're going to have to sharpen our pencil, and we're going to, while it's great for all of us to talk to our constituents individually, at that point, a budget workshop, when we have to really ask those hard questions, which of these services are valuable or not valuable to you?
Right.
That's when we ought to pull that together, I think. So,
Okay. All right. Well, I'm here to tell you I support you.
okay, well, I'm, I guess making a motion to allow staff to look at all these alternatives and would,
All right. Is there a second? Yes, second. All right. Any further discussion? All right. Commissioner Pelletier, you recognize?
Yes, I just, one brief thing. I don't know how much y'all followed it, but Mr. Overturf has kept me really tight on the loop that this language is back to them to redraw, and a judge could say, I don't like that either, and they've got a deadline. If it don't make it, it won't even be on the ballot. So, that could buy us another year. Sure. But I'm sure that language was already written whatever. But anyhow, he threw out the original writing, so that verbiage is gone, so they've got to redo. So we'll see what happens here shortly, because I'm thinking they're getting within a week of got to have it on the bottom line, I think. Just bear that in mind.
All right. Commissioner Newbold, you're still on. We have motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Commissioner Newbold, you're still on commissioner comments. You still have the floor, sir.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
All right. And now it's to you, Commissioner Pelletier.
We come up here and you hear us talking about how do we do this, how do we save this money, how we do that, that's part of our job. But another part of our job is public safety throughout the county, not just us, but everybody in the audience. Out in the Penn Isle area, had a man that was on the Silver Lake Drive, and his timing could not have been worse, as he passed under a dead oak that fell, and about a 14, 16-inch limb landed in the cab. Had he had his son in the car seat, it wouldn't have been good. And anyhow, I went down and looked at it. The whole tree is dead top to bottom. I told JT, that has got to go post haste. It's right on the edge of the pavement. It's a sure hazard, and I've spotted you another one that's overhanging the road that's gone. I've made JT aware of oak limbs blocking traffic lights from a distance that you can't see till you're right there. Just things like that. Just be aware and make us aware of it, make JT aware of it. I mean, I can put all that on JT like that, but it's all part of public safety. It's all part of our public safety. And I mean, that man's, this happened, his dad's a close personal friend, and he's a friend, and he's got a son that's 3 or 4 that would have been in that car seat, and it would have not been good. It would have been ugly. So that's all part of our job, you know, is safety of all of our constituents in this county. Simple things as dead trees by roads that are leaning over, and we're going to, and this tree is massive. I don't drive that way often, so I didn't see it, but when I went down there, I spotted it. It was like I had flashing red beacons on it. It was take me down, cut me down. Have you been, JT? It's got to go, doesn't it? Okay, thank you. And that's it for me, public comment. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Well, we have had an interesting meeting. I do want to address a few things with the Fair Authority. Particularly, I have some concerns, and so I want to bring them forward today during my comments. 2 things I was trying to figure out are the meetings open to the public, and it's my understanding that the Fair Authority meetings are open to the public. However, they might not meet the public requirement for advertising. I'm not sure. But what we have had is we've had multiple county commissioners going to the Fair Authority meetings, and while they can go to the Fair Authority meetings, they're not prohibited, they're not automatically prohibited from attending. This board specifically requested that Commissioner Newbold go as our liaison, and that way if there were questions that could be handled, he would address that. He would address any questions between the Fair Authority and Board of County Commissioners. He previously served as the chair, is it chair or president? Chair. Of the Fair Authority when he was not an elected official. And so we had asked him to do that, but since then, and I don't really know the reasons, but we've had a couple other commissioners attend their meetings. And I just have a little bit of concern. I don't believe that they should be able to participate in the discussion or ask questions or express positions. I'm worried about potential, just the optic of violating a sunshine law. I'm certainly not asserting that anyone has, but I believe that there's some concern as to how the county and the Fair Authority relate with each other. And if 2 or more county commissioners are going to participate, and anything that could foreseeably come before the BOCC, I believe we need to err on the side of caution and transparency and make sure that the public knows that those commissioners will be there and participating in the meetings. And so, Mr. Commando, I just want to ask your opinion, and I'm sorry I didn't give you any kind of, that I might be bringing this up, but I'd just like to hear what your thoughts are regarding this issue.
So the requirements to adhere to the Government and Sunshine Act and open meeting laws is incumbent on each of you. So if you do attend, just like if you attended a Florida Association of Counties meeting, you're prohibited from discussing anything that would violate sunshine. Madam Chair, I think what you're saying could be true. I don't know what was discussed at any of the Fair Association meetings, but there is a possibility that some of the discussion could end up coming before you. So even though the fair has to abide by sunshine for their meetings, we're not noticing it as ours.
Okay.
And if we noticed it as a meeting that 2 or more commissioners were potentially going to attend, and even if they don't participate, the concern is that you could say something that stimulates discussion. I think publicly, the challenge is that hear people say, well, we're not going to vote on it. That's not the only criteria for open meetings laws. Any discussion is something that would be considered or could be considered a violation. So we would have to notice their meeting as one of our meetings as well, and we'd have to have somebody present to take minutes, and we would also have to have our own probably agenda for that to comply with that, which seems overly burdensome. I think is probably why we have liaisons that attend these types of outside meetings.
Okay. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Thank you. I think out of an abundance of caution, I was designated as a liaison. I have not made 100% of the meetings. Early on, Commissioner Alexander filled in for me, but since then there's been other interests from other board members, and there have been more than one occasionally. I think out of an abundance of caution, if other commissioners would just touch base with me about their desire to go to a meeting, we'll make sure there's only one of us there, and we'll cut that optic right down.
Okay.
I think that's the quickest way to skin this cat, and there'll be some developments there in this area in the future soon too.
Thank you. And I know that we had also asked Mr. Grimes to go. This board did, as a body, asked Mr. Grimes to go. He's not an elected official, but he was going to give, if there were any questions or updates regarding the fair buildings, he was there to help with that. Commissioner Palatka, you're recognized.
I can shed some light on that.
Okay.
I attended a meeting there with Commissioner Alexander. And I can't tell what he was there for, but I was monitoring a situation that I wanted to get a real hands-on feel of what was going on there, so I could maybe make a change on that board. Don't know for sure yet what I'm going to do, but she does keep minutes. There was twice that we talked about it, said, hey, this could be something, and Josh got up and walked out of the room. So we governed ourselves well, and there was 20 other members there watching us. So Mr. Grimes was there and saw that happen. So I do see the concern, and I don't particularly like to have to fit that time in my schedule to go do that, but there's something that I'm monitoring that I want to get a real handle on, and I need to go for another meeting or two till I find out what I'm going to do.
Well, let's just coordinate, and I'll be absent from that meeting, and we'll just endeavor to be there one at a time.
Okay, not a problem.
Right. Thank you.
When I resolve my issue, unless you need me, I won't go. I promise you.
And then I have another question, Mr. Commando. Is the Fair Authority subject to public records law?
My understanding is they are.
They are. Okay. All right.
They're a statutorily created body.
And they're appointed, the authority is appointed by the members of the BOCC. And they operate county-owned public property. So that leads me to my third point. And my third point is, if there's a decision that's made on a building or something kind of public property there at the fairgrounds, are those things that should come back to the BOCC for review? In other words, if they're going to, most of the things we've been involved in, let me just say that, most of the things, like we've put in a roof, we've added a roof, we've done things, but if they were to make changes to a building or anything with the property, that stuff would all have to come back to the BOCC since they are county-owned properties, real estate.
I don't mean to be evasive. I don't know the answer to that because I don't know enough of the details, and I also don't know. So they operate with delegated authority. So they operate independently as what's called a dependent special district. But using our property, I have to go look and see. I don't know what the agreements are as far as the use of the property and what their obligations are back to the county. I mean, it would seem to me if they're making substantial changes that they would communicate with us. But from a legal standpoint, I have to dig a little further into what they're required to do.
Okay, and then I would also ask, so I'm going to ask you to come back with some legal review of what the legal authority's been delegated to the Fair Authority by the county, what decisions involving county-owned land and buildings must come back to the BOCC for approval, whether the Fair Authority has authority to sell, surplus, or lease property, or alter county-owned property without prior BOCC approval. So I feel like that I'm not trying to interfere with their day-to-day operations and their ability to operate, but I do have a concern about accountability. And these are county-owned assets paid for and owned by the taxpayers of Putnam County. And I need to understand who has the legal authority to make decisions about those assets and make sure the appropriate public process is being followed. I know that they are also working on their bylaws, and so they're updating their bylaws. I have a copy of their current bylaws. I don't know if there's something, I almost feel like somebody from the county needs to be involved or at least get to review their bylaws and at least see if make sure it doesn't go against any kind of ordinance or statute or anything else. We are building a 17,000 square foot building over there. And that's going to bring in significant revenue, and how we handle that going forward. I mean, it is a county asset. It is being paid for by the public. So how the revenue comes from that building and the other buildings out there, I think we should have further discussion. So that's where I'm at on the Fair Authority. Again, I haven't served on it. Commissioner Newbold, I'm sure, has a different opinion, or I would think he does, considering he served on it. He saw the other side. I have not seen the other side of being on the Fair Authority. I welcome any comments you have. If you feel like I'm way off on this, then I would love to have the discussion.
Well, I don't feel like you're way off. I mean, I appreciate your, stewardship of public funds. There's a lot of questions here that have been up in the air over the years. It'd be a good time to get some of them clarified. It comes down to, how far down in the weeds do we want to be? I mean, do we want to run the fair, or do we want the fair board to run the fair? I understand you don't want to run the fair, but you want it done within a set of parameters. So I get your inquiry, and I have no problem with it. It's a good opportunity to clean up some, ledges. So I'm perfectly fine with your line of inquiry.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Again, I'm not trying to interfere. I'm just trying to make sure that we get it right. And I think this is a good opportunity to do that. Is there anything else to come before the board? All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Very good.